I've really admired some of the amazing axe skills demonstrated by guys on YouTube, especially onsek and guys like Olof Anderson on the in various videos where they're doing, and like on the Saga Stua video, you know, and guys are doing like really intricate joinery solely with an axe. And one of the things that they have to do, one of the skills you have to develop if you want to do like axe joinery, which is something I'd like to do, is cutting end grain, flat end grain faces like 90 degrees to the timber. So it's not complicated, but it is a little tricky, and it requires a lot of accuracy. But and it's essentially just a modified form of bucking, really. But this video is gonna be just about doing a 90-degree face cut on end grain, and how you go about doing that with an axe. And obviously, it's more efficient to do this with a saw. This video is for people who want to use their axes more and are interested in the kind of woodworking you can do, you know, using a very limited number of tools, and especially just an axe, or an axe and just a few other tools. So what you have to do is on the side that you're cutting the end grain face, you have to come in straight at a straight 90-degree angle to basically to the direction of the grain, and then you come in at your normal 45 on the opposite. And the challenge that I'm having is keeping this face truly flat. I have a tendency to end up angling it out, and so I'm not making this video as an expert. I'm making it as just a sort of a demo of the process for people who haven't tried it, and I'm still teaching myself how to do this properly. So it's one of those things with an axe. Anything you do with an axe, you got to practice a bunch, you know, and it's a lot about muscle memory. Well, you can see that's not terribly flat or by any means perfect surface for joinery, but those are the principles. Obviously, that's not, as you look at that, that is not flat. It's not the pointed felling cut that it was before, but that's not, you know, a square face for doing joinery. So I have got a long way to go to master this, but I just wanted to put that out there kind of as my starting point, because this is, you know, something, this is a technique that I really want to be able to use, and in order to use it, you've got to use it. And with axes, there's no, I really feel like there's no shortcuts for getting the technique down. It's just, it really is repetition. And so, and for this technique, I would say it's 90% accuracy. You're not actually cutting much material with each blow. It's just getting the blow to land in exactly the same spot and at the right angle. And that's quite difficult. This is kind of one of my holy grails here. You know, the grain fights you, and like in terms of comfort, if you don't have a comfortable handle, you know, hitting repeated blows on directly perpendicular on the grain like this, that transfers a lot of force back into your arms. So this is a difficult technique. I'm not good at it yet by any means. So yeah, I hope that's interesting to folks. Well, that is much closer to what I want. It's still not good enough for, you know, joinery, but that is a lot flatter than the first cut. So it's one of those things where, you know, it's kind of getting a hang of the technique. And so I'm not where I want to be, but I just took a major jump forward from the first side of this log to the second, and I'm really pleased with that. And I think what I want to do is I'm going to take this little section of log home, and I am going to hew two sides of it, and then I'm going to split it and make some low hewing benches, kind of like, so I'm going to put some links in the description because there's two really great channels. I mean, I've talked about Handwerks Laboratory before, and the Werkspredening video where Olof Anderson is just making this beautiful, beautiful hewn timber, and he does this exact process, except it's perfect. It's like perfectly 90 degrees, and you know, the end grain is just shining on that log, and it's just incredible. It makes you want to cry. So that is kind of what I'm shooting for with this technique, is to be able to just square off the end of a log perfectly 90 degrees to, you know, the grain, and then be able to do, you know, layout and joinery and all that stuff on a axe cut end grain. And then the other is Onsek, you know, his channel where he does all of this axe based timber frame joinery, and he's got basically some, I don't know if you call them hewing bunks or whatever, that he has the logs up on while he's doing his joinery on, you know, making the tenons on the ends of the beams and things like that. So I want to build sort of a pair of like hewing benches or chopping benches, whatever you want to call them, similar to that, out of, you know, this split piece of wood. So that's what I'm working towards. So I hope you guys, this was useful to you, and thank you very much for watching.